Hey yo, what's good, y'all? It's that boy, Easy Millions, and I'm your host of That Boy ETV. You already know, man, we are back on Marvel Rivals, and today I gotta talk about something that's been plaguing the community and been basically plaguing our games, making playing the game that much harder and that much more difficult. And that's gonna be this tank epidemic that we're currently going through at the moment. Now, I do feel like there are a few key reasons why we have a tank epidemic, and it's kind of crazy that we are, because do I feel like tank is the hardest role to play? No, I believe tank is probably the second hardest role to play, in my opinion. Strategist being the first, and then DPS being the last hardest. So I don't think that tank is a hard role to play. I just think that a lot of people aren't willing to really do what it takes to play that role. And there's some other things too. Like, one of the main reasons I think that people aren't playing tank is due to the limited amount, right? So we all know that tank has the lowest amount of people in that category, which is kind of strange, seeing that, you know, tanks are very important in a hero shooter like this. You need someone that's going to be able to hold the point, create space for your team, basically be able to soak up or block a lot of that damage so that their teammates aren't out here just getting demolished, right? But the limited amount of tanks, I think, does really affect the want for players to play that role. Not only that, I feel like a lot of the more fan favorite characters aren't there in the tank role. Like, when you think about the more popular characters like Wolverine, Spider-Man, these guys are DPSs, you know what I mean? When you look at the tank role, probably the most popular comic book wise is probably the Hulk. And again, you know, not too many people that I see would really just want to go play him as much, especially now that he doesn't have the Namor team up. But due to the limited amount, I can see why certain people not going to want to play him. And with this being limited, you also have like things like limited amount of fun, because a lot of the tanks kind of pretty much play the same. You know, you're either standing in the front, putting up a shield, tanking damage, or you're pretty much diving in and out, right? So I think that you need to add some more tanks. I think like a good amount would be like, here go two villains they could add. They could add Doc Ock, I think would be a good tank, and also Juggernaut, I believe, would be a really good tank. Even though Juggernaut might be somewhat similar to the Thing, but I think that they'd be able to put Juggernaut in and make him his own character. So I think that adding more options at the tank would definitely increase the playability of this role and maybe encourage players to play this role a little bit more, especially if you start bringing in, you know, more fan favorite characters for that role, man. So I think that they just need to bring in some more characters, especially fan favorite ones, and we'll definitely start seeing a lot more people be willing to play tank, man. Now, another reason why I think a lot of people aren't playing tank is due to banning the bans of tanks. I know for a while, like I said, one of the more fun tanks was Hulk, and for a while Hulk was banned a lot due to his Hulk Namor team up, due to his Gamma team up in the beginning with him, Strange, and Iron Man, and then again it just kind of continued with him and Namor. So there was a while there where Hulk was banned pretty much all the time, and you're talking about banning what I probably would say is probably one of the most funnest tanks to play in general. And with that being said, when we ban tanks here, now we're even shortening the pool that we can even play. Like, now I got people banning, we see Penny being banned a lot more. Hulk is still getting banned from time to time. I even still see people banning Strange, which is kind of weird, because Strange isn't as powerful as he was in the beginning of the game. I know he does serve a good purpose, like if you are trying to get back to the point and you happen to die, or even in the beginning of the game, you could start off as Strange, set the portal, and then back into your spawn and go ahead and switch off of him again. So again, I do get that certain bans of these tanks were necessary, especially the ones that were coming to Hulk. But it does seem as though I see more ego bans when it comes to tanks. Like, usually someone played the tank so well that the next round the person wants to ban them. So when you're seeing the enemy team and they put up a random ban, you're like, what the hell is that, right? Like, and it's kind of crazy because I don't see someone like Magneto getting banned, even though he's extremely good. But again, when it comes to these tanks, Magneto and Strange essentially somewhat kind of play the same. Put up your shield, stand in the front, and shoot. Then you have your dives, which would be Captain America, Angela, Hulk, these guys. And then you have like Groot, which is, I guess Groot would be more in line with like Magneto and them. So Groot's another one that tends to get banned from time to time, even though I think Groot is one of those ones that's an ego ban, where basically someone played a good Groot. So again, between the ego banning and the limited amount of tank players in general, I can see why a lot of people aren't playing tank. And now the last thing I want to kind of talk before I get up out of here is a lot of people don't want to end up playing solo tank. And trust me, I understand this completely. I play solo tank a lot when I'm solo queuing, or even sometimes going into rank by myself. I end up playing solo tank a lot. And when you play solo tank, you are kind of reliant on your teammates to be successful, especially depending on which tank you actually are, because some tanks don't have sustainability enough to help keep themselves to survive. So like a good example of this is some of the tanks that I play. Well, I'll give you 3 examples. I play Penny. I would never solo tank with Penny because I'm too reliant on my healers to stay alive. When it comes to Magneto, I'm more inclined or okay with it to solo tank because he has shields and bubbles to protect himself, to kind of extend my life so I can at least get to my healers. And then you have someone I play like Captain America, who when I play Captain America, I am more into, okay, I need to get health packs, and if I can't get a health pack, it's on me to get back to my healer, right? But again, all 3 roles are somewhat dependent on your teammates to be good as a solo tank. But again, Captain America, in my opinion, is not someone who's a solo tank, because that's not his natural play style. He's more of a dive tank, so you can't really play him either. So again, if you end up in a solo tank role, you're now even limited to the tanks that you can actually play to be successful in said role, man. So again, between the bans and then having to play solo, being so reliant, and noticing that so many tanks aren't really good by themselves, I can see why a lot of people aren't really trying to play the tank role, man. But let me know how y'all feel, man. Do y'all think that there is way too much of a limited amount of tanks? Do y'all also agree that the bans, especially ego bans of tanks, limit the amount of playable tanks that people actually want to go play? And do you agree that solo tanking and relying on your teammates is another big reason why people aren't trying to come out here and tank, man? Let me know down in the comments, and let's get a conversation started, man. But until then, I'm going to leave y'all off with the rest of this gameplay here in the background, and I hope y'all enjoy that, man. But as always, please like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, become a supporter, and catch me streaming on Facebook Gaming and Twitch at DatBoyETV. Now, catch you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.